How is it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here with another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today is someone who is just an awesome person to know when it comes to streamers and content creators. It's the middle-aged gamer guy. Here he is. How you doing, sir?
Hello. Hey, Johnny. How you doing?
I'm well, my friend. How are you doing? You doing well?
Yeah. Very well. Thank you so much for asking me to be on this. Really
I
appreciate it.
really appreciate you. Appreciate your time, and can't wait to talk about video games for an hour with you. Like, it's just gonna be so much fun.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Favorite.
Let's go. So, one thing I will have to say, I don't normally start with this question, but I will have to ask, middle-aged gamer guy. I mean, obviously, and Mags, we've called you
Yes.
Mags.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is middle-aged?
I don't know, because this is the funny thing. Because when I came up with the name, I was obviously in my 40s, but I would guess that middle age is actually 50s. But then, because of the platform that I stream on, I'm technically, sorry to say, quite an old guy when it comes to
You do not even
compared
look
to a
like you're in
lot of
your
the audience.
40s, can I just say? Bloody hell.
Yeah, but I don't personally class 40s as old,
No.
right? Because I'm now, well, I'll be 46 at the end of this year. I'm probably having more fun now than I did in my 20s and 30s. But I think it was just the fact that it was a bit of a catchy thing, because I was like, well, the name will probably last for quite a long time.
Yes.
And I can get away with it for like a good 10, 15, maybe pushing it 20 years. But yeah, it just kind of come up from that. And I'll be honest, the MAG and the MAGs thing wasn't even me, because that was my community that started abbreviating it, and I was like, damn, I wish I'd come up with that, because it's so much better.
It's
So
great. Like
it's great. I like it. The fact that more people call me by that, and it's so funny that I've got friends that don't call me by. It's so weird to hear my real name. I hardly ever hear it.
no.
Like I hardly ever hear it. It's
Oh.
bizarre.
That was me in the pandemic. Like my real name is John. Spoiler alert! I know you didn't see that one coming. But I heard Johnny far more often, or JB far more often in the pandemic than John, and it was just the weirdest thing when I started to go back to John. I was like, what, what?
You know, like, who's John?
Yeah, who's that guy? But yeah, I funny you go. We were talking about Mags. Like I kept when I was in Timeless last year, I kept hearing people say talk to Mags, and I didn't put the two things together. That
Yeah.
you were oh yeah, of course.
I know. Do you know what? And that's the funny thing, because now it's come up and more people call me Mags than that. And I refer to myself as Mag or Mags. And it's part of me that's like, shall I change the name? And just, it'll still mean middle aged gamer guy,
Yeah.
but the whole channel thing will be just abbreviated down.
Mm.
And that's been a whole back and forth for a century now. So I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, everyone just calls me that. So it is funny. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's hindsight's a great thing. You're like 5 years in and you go, oh, I wish I called myself something else now. But
Yeah.
I don't regret the name, because the name's got me to where we are today, as it were, with what people call me. So
100%. Yeah.
it's all good.
So, Mags, would you like to
Yes.
introduce yourself then to anyone who doesn't know who Mags is? I mean, if you don't know,
Okay.
how dare you? But yeah, you know.
Don't take it personally. Don't worry. Why are you watching me? I'm going to come
Yeah.
out.
You
Oh,
don't know who I
no.
am.
I've got an ego the side of a house.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah, so after that, right, no one's gonna watch me now after that intro. So I am middle-aged gamer guy, also known as Mag or Mags. I predominantly stream on Twitch. I am known for a show called Tuesday Night Gaming Chat, which is a 2-hour show on a Tuesday night where we have lots of different guests, whether they be gaming devs, gaming journalists, content creators, people involved in the gaming industry, and we talk about all the latest gaming news and reviews from that last 7 days. And that show has run nearly 220 episodes since we started. And we've had lots of wonderful content creators, large and small, on the scale. We've had people like Mike Channel from Outside Xbox, which has been brilliant. Jason Bradbury from The Gadget Show. We've had lots of gaming journalists. We've had some wonderful people like Slopes, the YouTuber, Ashens. Yeah, people. We've had game testers, art designers. Basically, there's been a whole list of people that we've had on, and it's just been great to see how that's grown. We've had some, what I call some absolute legends. I think literally our second show, we were very honoured to have Gary Bracey, who was the guy that ran Ocean Software. So for all the 80s and 90s and the early noughties that did all the film tie-ins like the Jurassic Park games, RoboCop, Batman, and had all those amazing games. And he's such a lovely bloke. And it's nice I stay in touch with a lot of those guys. But yeah, that's what I'm known for. I cover pretty much new games that are out. So do anything from 2 to 4 streams a week. Predominantly 2 streams of brand new games that have recently come out. One is the talk show, and then one's a community night where it's just random games that everyone can play cross-platform and it's free to play. So anything from Rocket League to Jackbox to, some new games. We did Frag Punk the other week, which came out a couple of weeks ago. So anything that's kind of anyone could just join in, Among Us, things like that. That's what we do. That's pretty much my shtick as a creator on that side of things. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. And of course, you're also an event organizer as well.
For my sins, yeah.
Amongst other things. You never
Yeah.
stop.
No, I never do. I think this is the thing. I'm a workaholic. So, people who don't know, like pre-COVID, like most people, got into streaming during COVID. I had an events business for 20 years, mainly for the technical side of things, like the sound and lighting and stuff. And unfortunately, that went tits up because of COVID, because we've literally had 2 years of just no real work. So it basically destroyed a business I had for 20 years. And we had 18 staff and everything. Had to dissolve it, go into a bankruptcy, pay everyone off that we had to pay off. And it was honestly the streaming stuff that kept me going. So I started the streaming whilst I had the company, and we had to close the company in 2023, unfortunately. But the streaming had taken off quite well. But also from that, there was the opportunity of starting up Timeless, which started in 2022, which came in a very weird way. And then also more recently, as of sort of Easter last year, was offered the opportunity to run the Manchester Meets powered by Twitch. So there's kind of two things with that. I've got fingers dipped into format. I'm not one of the organisers of format, but we do stuff with format, and you will often see us doing things at a lot of the formats events. A big shout out to Simran. And I often get invited to a lot of other events, either to speak, MC, or get involved some way, like just act a fool on stage generally. So that's kind of thing. So it's kind of a two-way thing. And literally, at the time of recording this, I'm a week away from going off to TwitchCon to work for Twitch for the very first time, which is cool. So I'm speaking for the first time at TwitchCon on the Sunday with some other wonderful creators. And on the Saturday and Sunday, we're running a lot of the networking sessions and helping run them and make sure everyone gets networking in it. There's the UK one, there's horror game, there's board games. So all different creators, all different shapes and sizes. We basically make sure that they're not standing in the corner going, I'm not talking to anyone. We're going to get them yes. talking and get them networking. So, yeah, I am crazily busy and I've shown no signs of stopping, which is bizarre.
Definitely. Goodness me. And again, for that reason alone, I just appreciate your time. So thanks for
no worries.
Okay, so that's all now. So let's talk
about now.
Let's talk about non-middle-aged gamer guy. Let's talk about just Gamer Boy, Game Boy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Small mags.
Small mags. Yeah. So what was your first memories of video gaming then? Again, you was it something that because obviously you mentioned your age and stuff like that. Was that something that was in your childhood? Was it something that kind of evolved? Where's gaming for you in your first early memories?
It's very much that. It's funny because my folks are not gamers. However, 2 years before I was born, they bought an Atari 2600.
Nice.
Because it was the first console to ever be around. So they bought that in 77, and then obviously I popped out in 79. And then it was a good couple of years before I got to play that, because obviously I had to go from being a baby to a child. But I have very fond memories of playing Pong with the original paddles and those rock hard joysticks that felt like you were moving a concrete block to move. And we kept that. We've still got that console to this day. and for many years we got lots of games for it, and it had a bit of a resurgence in the 90s. So that was kind of the first thing, playing things like Yar's Revenge and Outlaw, where you shoot the bullets and they bounce off the wall and stuff. Freeway, which is like the chicken crossing the road thing, which is basically like Frogger.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I literally saw that Xbox did a load of 50 retro games on Game Pass, and a lot of them are the Atari games that I still have to this day on there,
Nice.
which is great. So I literally saw that this morning. That was good. So that was my first memory. So playing games with them, with that, and then probably around about 1988 was my first computer. Now I had some friends that had computers and game things, but I had a friend who had an Amstrad, so we went down the Spectrum route.
Right,
but I was very lucky to get a Spectrum Plus 3, so it was the one that came with the disc drive.
Oh,
So I didn't have to put the tape in and wait out like 30 minutes to go. It sounded like an internet provider loading up. So I had the disc drive, and I have very fond memories of games. And a lot of my games were, ironically, ocean games. Obviously, I mentioned Gary Bracey earlier. So I had RoboCop, which was a huge success on a lot of gaming computers in the 80s. Batman, obviously based on the Michael Keaton and Tim Burton film, and a ton of other games. New Zealand Story, stuff like that. So they bought the computer. This is what's hilarious. They bought the computer for homework reasons, as every kid would say.
Yes.
But what my parents failed to realise was, yes, I could type on it and type assessments, but they hadn't bought me a printer, so I couldn't actually do anything with that.
Yeah.
So then they just basically like, well, we don't want to pay God knows how much it was for another printer, so it just became a gaming computer. And I remember very excited because obviously I was about 8 years old, so still believed in Santa Claus. So one morning, woke up and I had a colour TV, which was probably like that thick and that wide, but that was like a cool TV back in those days, and a Spectrum Plus 3 with a cheetah joystick. And that was kind of my first own machine. Like my folks had bought me that. They never used it. And yeah, it went from there. I think, and I had a friend who got a NES, and I was quite late to party with NES. I think once the Turtles pack came out in the 90s, so I got a NES with that. And then about 2 years after a SNES came out, I got a SNES. I've still got all these consoles.
Oh, nice.
And then weirdly, from the SNES, like all my friends like got N64 and all that, or they were playing the Mega Drive, or jumped into that in the Sega consoles. But I went into PC gaming. So like the first GTA, Half-Life, those were some of the first games that I played on a PC. Descent, people remember that. Obviously Doom 2, which I love those. And it was quite a while before I even went back to consoles, and I skipped a lot of good stuff because skipped a lot of consoles, like people say about the Saturn and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always keeping up on what was out. So you had the 3DO, the Jaguar, the Atari Jaguar, remember?
Yeah.
So all those consoles that came and went. And then I kind of inherited a PlayStation 2 from an ex-girlfriend. And then they got me into Xbox because they got so fed up of me playing their PlayStation 2 that they got me an Xbox 360. And again, quite a few years after it came out. And that turned me into a bit of an Xbox fanboy.
Right, yeah.
So I had a 360. And then literally when the Xbox One came out, I think I bought that like a year. So when it came out, but a year after. And that came out with the second Tomb Raider game. I think probably a FIFA game that came bundled with it. So I had that, and that was like the first console in ages that I'd actually properly bought myself.
Sure.
And then got the Series X literally a month after that came out. That was a birthday present. And then because of the streaming, literally I'd got the Series X, and I started streaming a few months after that. I then managed to get my hands on a PS5 because I wanted to stream PlayStation games. And then I bought the wife, or I should say ex-wife now. She will get it back, don't worry. I bought her a limited edition Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
And she was playing Animal Crossing and everything. But then when we split, she very kindly said, look, you're going to make your use out of this, so why don't you have it? So she's given me that. But obviously I've got a Switch 2 turning up in, 2 weeks. So I've said to her, if she wants the Switch back, she can have it because I'll be just using the Switch 2. and obviously over the years I started to get back into PC gaming because of the streams and playing new games. It wasn't the fact that I'd get these consoles to show off. It was to get the consoles to basically be able to showcase the games that we're talking about on the talk show and play the games on stream. So it was more of a necessity rather than, oh, I'm just buying a console for a sake console. It was like, no, I want to be able to play the PlayStation exclusives on stream. And there's some games I get sent that are only PlayStation codes, so I don't want to miss out on stuff. So the new, so like this year, the Pirate Yakuza and Kingdom Come Deliverance, if I'd stuck with the Xbox, I would have never got sent codes for them. So I'm very grateful that, you know, got to play those on stream and show those games off, which are great games.
It's so true that, like, it's just on as someone that uses like email and Lurkit and looks at like getting early access, it's just like that. I often think that because I don't have a PS5, I'm like, oh, I reckon far more people have PC codes than the console codes.
Yes. Yeah.
So it gives you a massive advantage.
Yeah.
It's
I think that's the thing. But now I've got the option. If they've got the option, my go-to is I'll have it on Xbox. Or if I need to buy a game, because I don't always get stuff for free, I'm going to put that out there. You know, if there's a game I'm really hyped for, I will go out and buy it. You know, and still do it because you don't always get codes. But if there's limited options, then at least I can say I'll have it on that platform, please. And at least I know I can still cover it because as much as I like to try and plan, and I normally plan my streams about a month in advance because I try and do them as close to when the games come out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't always get access to games, or as I've had this year, which is the first time in 2 years, there's been 3 games that I wanted to stream that all got delayed.
Oh right. Yeah.
Like the dates were concrete. One of them I have since streamed, but back in March I was supposed to do Fragpunk, and they released it on PC, but then not consoles. So I was like, well, I want to do it when we can get everyone playing it. So we actually did that last week. But Descenders Next, which is the extreme sports game, that got delayed. And I don't know when we will do that stream because they haven't put a date on it. And then the other one was Killing Floor 3 was supposed to come out at the end of March.
Right, yeah.
But that's now been shifted into the summer. So I'm like, well, I'll put that in the diary. I'm like, well, if I can get a copy of that or if I have to buy a copy of that, I'll do that then and cover that. But this year's been a bit of a weird year. I've never had that where I know games always get delayed, but I've never had it when I'm literally 2 weeks before due to doing the stream for it, and then they've gone, we've got to shift it.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of an odyssey.
That is again a lot of the games you kind of mentioned there. They're kind of, dare I say, like indie developers or smaller teams compared to like some of the big massive publishers. I suppose they don't necessarily have to kind of say they've gone gold and stuff like that, do they? That's like a whole big thing for big AAA developers, isn't it? So it's like, oh, that's got to be a real big frustrating like setback, I suppose, when that does happen.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It just means I have to shelve those streams. But what I don't want is if they shelve them into a month where there's a lot of big releases, and then we never do the stream because I'll be a bit like, oh, I really wanted to cover that. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And I do find there's certain months where I'm bombarded. I remember 2023 October was insane because we had Assassin's Creed Mirage, Spider-Man 2, I think Alan Wake 2. My God, there was about 5 other big main games that all came out that month, and I literally just managed to squeeze it all into the
oh my God.
the thing. It was probably one of the best gaming months I'd had in a long time. I'll be honest. But it is funny that there are some that you kind of plan months ahead in, especially say with like Assassin's Creed Shadows. We planned to do that when it was supposed to come out, and then it got delayed, and then it got delayed again. But it's not so bad when they say, oh, like, it's due to come out in 2 months, and then they go, oh, now it's pushed back for 6 months, because that doesn't really affect me, because I haven't fully committed to that stream and publicised it. But this year's been one where there's been 3 games, of which 1 I've now finally covered, and 2 I'm yet to cover yet from when I originally said.
Yeah. And again, I suppose there's a difference when it's like almost your job versus when it's like a hobby for a lot of streamers. This is like a hobby almost, isn't it? But what do you think when it comes to like how do you separate that?
See, it's funny because I don't really play games as a hobby anymore. It's like I will play games off stream because a lot of them So I'm going to be brutally honest. There's some games I get sent, and I will stream them. I will never play them again.
Yeah.
Like I might enjoy it, or I might not enjoy it, and that definitely means I won't play it again. But it needs to capture me to say I want to continue playing this and see it through. Because obviously, when we do the talk show, we do all these things with all these guests, but we always start the year with 2 special shows where we talk about like 50 games that you might want to play.
Yeah.
So I've done a ton of research on that, and then hopefully, eventually, those games will come out that year. So then I'm fairly hyped for those. But then obviously, when we get to the Christmas special, we do our top 15 games of the year.
Okay.
But my ruling is I can only put them in if I've played it and completed it.
Okay.
Because it's
right.
not fair to me to say, oh, I love this game because I played the first few levels when it could
Yeah.
turn out to be not as good.
True.
So I try and play games off stream to complete them to then decide will they get talked about again in future shows. So to me, that's still more of a job thing. And again, with getting invited to a lot of different gaming shows and a lot of events, I'll go play games, and there'll be some that I go, well, this is cool. I'll make a note of that. And again, that'll make me think, right, well, when that comes out, I will want to stream that in 2 months or 6 months or 12 months when it's due to come out. And it brings more. There was a lot of stuff that I went to see in London at the start, part of London Games Festival. Some of those games have already come out, and some of them are due to come out in the next 6 months. And I'm like, well, when they are out, I would like to cover them.
Yeah, of course.
So it's more of a, I'd say it's more of a journalistic kind of view, even
I
though
was
I
thinking
don't,
that.
I don't count myself as a journalist, but it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I still do enjoy playing games, but I don't. I used to play them like again when COVID first hit. Video games saved my life. Like I think I must have got through all of Far Cry 5 in less than a week. And that's all the
Yeah.
DLCs. And the same with Division 2, which you should spend months on. But I literally hammered through it, all the DLCs and everything, insanely for like 2-3 weeks just to keep me sane. And obviously, Doom Eternal came out,
Yes.
but I got through that in about 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was the same during COVID. Like COVID happened, and then Resident Evil 3 remake came out the same week,
yes,
and I platinumed it in a week.
yeah,
I was like, oh my god, how did I do that? And then the week after, because it got delayed initially, I played Final Fantasy 7 remake the week after
oh
then.
yeah.
But it was delayed initially, and then it was that thing where it was like, oh, some people might get a copy early, but don't play it early. Square Enix was like yeah, sure, we won't play it early, but I was
Yeah.
one of the lucky ones. I didn't get it. I got it late. But yeah, like I said, that saved me. Like, oh, I said to my wife, I was like, right, I'm just gonna get a load of snacks. Respectfully, don't disturb me. I'm playing through Final Fantasy 7 remake, and I'm just going to just absorb myself into this world and just
Yeah.
and she did, to be fair. Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing. I think it saved a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's screwed the gaming industry as we know it right now.
100%.
They kind of went all in on it and then realised they'd gone and spent way too much money and employed far too many people. And obviously, there's been a lot of horrible things that have come out from that. But
Yeah.
I don't regret spending that time playing the games because I think it kept me. Oh, I was potentially I was at the time I was losing my business, which unfortunately I did.
Yeah.
2-3 years later, but it did keep me sane because I'd just been sitting around the house, and then obviously that's then what led to me going, maybe I can do something with this, and that's kind of what led into the streaming.
Yeah.
And then
I
that
mean,
led to the talk show, which was that the next thing, which is kind of that's probably the reason I am still streaming actually, and the reason I play so many games is because of the talk show.
yeah,
It's the
100%.
thing, yeah,
And the amount of people that did take up to streaming in COVID as well, like it's fascinating seeing like the statistics around like how many people were watching Twitch, how many people were joining
yeah,
Twitch and streaming as a content creator on Twitch, and then the numbers falling since then. Some are doing it just purely as an escapism, weren't they, to get
yeah.
by?
It's quite sad to say that I don't think I kind of got involved with it. I probably did about 6 months by myself, and then I met a lot like a group of people online where we're all kind of looking after each other and jumping into each other's streams. I can't honestly say that any of those people are still around.
Yeah,
And I get the odd message of one going, "Christ, are you still doing this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it'll be 5 years in October."
yeah,
And they're like, "I can't believe you're still doing it." I was like, "Well, it's my job now."
Yeah.
This is the thing, and I get that a lot of people did it because, as you said, it was escapism and that. But I think as soon as people started getting back to work, and a lot of people got back to work a lot earlier than I ever could, they dropped it like a stone.
Yeah.
But then you've kind of seen. I'm not saying that all streamers of COVID did that, because I know there's a lot of streamers that were streaming before COVID that are still going
Yeah.
strong, and some that have made a very good career, very lucrative career around about that time. But it's that circle of people that I knew that none of them do it, and I think that's quite sad in some respects.
I was just about to sentimentally say the same thing. Like, I do. I look back on like some of the earlier like 2020s. I'm like, where have they all gone? And I'm still here. And like, I
Yeah,
made some real people, genuinely like good connections. I thought, good friendships with certain people, and then unfortunately they have just dropped off. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, that's a shame. I hope you're well. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's
It's one of those things where people just disappeared off the planet, and
mm,
I was quite thankful I did get to meet some of them. We arranged a meet up at like the first EGX after COVID. We got about 15 of us together, which was really good. And then we kind of tried to make that a thing, and that went for a couple of years where we got a group of us together. But then there's other gaming events and stuff, and we don't really do a meet at EGX anymore. That's more through personal choice. We won't go. I won't get controversial just yet.
okay.
Um, but there are other events that we get people out. But I think because of that now, I've made more friendships, and I'd say more longer lasting friendships with people that I have met at gaming events, and then either see regular events or will only see at one particular event every year.
Yeah, right.
But I
Yeah.
do stay in touch with them, and I find that's gone really well. So
And that's just on that. Like I only really started properly attending events last year.
hmm.
My first insomnia was last year. The first and
Okay,
the only
yeah,
one
yeah,
I went to, and we'll maybe talk about that later on, maybe not. But
yeah, we'll see.
I did the circuit basically last year, and like it fascinated me just again coming into it in 2024, seeing people more do the events than Twitch. Really, they were more interested in the event side of it than the actual video
Yeah,
gaming side of it. Almost, I think it was the community side of it.
yeah,
It's fascinating. I
it
did not
is.
expect it.
It's. I think it's a thing because we're in a weird time for gaming events in the UK right now. Um, because we've lost a lot of decent events, and then there's also been some events that have been set up that are, I'll be polite, need a lot of work.
Yeah,
I think some people have thought, hey, we could just do this and throw it together. And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be unfair, because I know some of those are trying again this year. So hopefully they'll improve on what they've learned, hopefully learned from the mistakes. But I attended and went, if I'd paid money for this, I would have been pissed
yeah,
to like attend. And I've been polite. I've not gone back. I'm not. I'm never going to go up to someone and say your event's shit, mate.
yeah. Of course.
What I've said is, look, if you're serious about doing this, there's things you need to do. Um, but yeah, I've seen a few this year as well that have been announced, and you look and have been announced for 6-8 months. They literally there's no information. I'm just like, that just sounds bad. Like
Yeah,
there's red flags for that all over. Um, and a lot of the bigger game events have disappeared. So that it's a shame. There's some really good ones that have disappeared. Um, and there's some other ones that are trying to fight and do well and struggling a bit, and there's ones that are doing exceedingly well, which is great because you want them to succeed. So I'm all for campaigning for gaming events and keep them going because people want to meet at events. And
yes.
like you said, you started attending events. I probably attended the most events I'd ever done last year. I think I attended 25 different gaming events just last year.
Wow.
And majority of them I was invited to. Some of them I was actually an actual guest at. And there was probably maybe 2 I actually paid for.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have just gone, and it's a shame.
That is,
Um,
yeah. Wow. That
yeah,
just that
it's
statistic.
scary.
Man,
Mm.
goodness
But we
me.
do need them, and the gaming community needs them because it's a great place to make friends, see people that you only ever see online or ever talk to, or might not have never seen the face and only heard in
Yes.
your headset.
Yeah.
Um, So I'm all for people setting up gaming events. Just if you're gonna do it, my advice is start small. Don't go mad. Be realistic with what you want to do and build it from there. Because there's been a few, as I say, I attended last year that made certain things of, oh, we're going to have 1,000 people at this, and I turned up and there was 30 people there, and the advertising was very misleading and stuff. And I was like, you've got a good idea, but you've shot yourself in your foot, and because you've done that, people are probably not going to want to attend. And surprise, surprise, some of those events aren't even being run this year.
Yeah, and it breaches trust, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah, it does.
That's a shame, man. Okay. Let's talk about some of your favorite games then. So, what are you? I mean, again, with someone that has got such a strong, like, an incredible library of video games. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
what are some of your favorites then? And can you make like a Mount Rushmore of favorite games? Is that
Oh
possible?
God, probably, and I've probably got most of them still here. So, ironically, from my Spectrum days, my favorite game was Run the Gauntlet, which was based on the TV show. If anyone remembers that,
Yeah. Oh my god.
where you
Yeah.
had to
Yeah.
teams from like the Netherlands, England, Spain, and it was basically a game show where you had people driving land vehicles, water vehicles like jet skis, hovercrafts, and there was even a thing called like the Hill, which was basically people getting shot at water cannons. So even before, in the days of I'm a Celebrity, Get You Here, when I have to do that thing where they have to run, they were doing that, and there had explosions going off, and they have to climb up nets, and it was like a mix between Crips and Fats and that. And I loved that game, and I had it on the Spectrum. And that was just great because I had all the different levels, you had all the different vehicles, and you even had the hill, but there was two different versions of it. So every time you played the game was always different. I mean, after you played it 100 times, you probably had played every vehicle and everything, but you never knew what levels you were going to get because they were randomly generated. So that was great fun, and I have fun memories of that. I think PlayStation 2, obviously, PlayStation 2, it was 13, if you remember that game, which was the cel-shaded cartoon game. Unfortunately, they've remastered that twice, and it's been bloody awful.
Oh no.
It's been shocking, but it was great on PlayStation 2, and it was David Duchovny doing the voice of the character, and there was a lot of other well-known people did the voices on that as well. I think PC, the original GTA,
Nice.
love that. Half-Life, obviously, which I mentioned earlier, and obviously the Doom games. And then I think with the 360, I mean with the NES and stuff, obviously there's some rock hard games on that, but there was none that majorly stayed out. I think Pilot Wings was a favourite on my SNES. I love that. That's always been a firm favourite. And then obviously Xbox. There's been some really good. Far Cry 3 for me was a massively standout game.
Yeah.
I love that bits. There would have been Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood. So I thought the first Assassin's Creed was an okay game, to be fair. And then Assassin's Creed 2 was amazing, and then Brotherhood come along and it was even better. So that stands out. There was an oddity of a game which not many people know that was on PlayStation 2 as well, called Total Overdose, which is almost like a GTA rip-off, but it was a very good GTA rip-off set in Mexico. And the story was about two brothers, one who's a criminal and one who's a cop. And the cop gets injured, so the criminal brother has to stand in and pretend to be in and takes down the Mexican cartel. And it was a lot of fun. And they did a sequel, but it was only on PSP, and I never got to play it. And they never did a main sequel, unfortunately. And then obviously more recently, games I've really loved. The Dead Space remake, which I honestly was very much against. And then I played it and went, damn, they did a really good job with that. So, get my words. And I love that. Yeah, it's really, really good. Do play it because it's great. Forza Horizon 5 was amazing. God, what else? Obviously, the Doom 2016 remake, Doom Eternal. I'm not going to talk about anything from this year yet. The Indiana Jones game that came out last year. Absolute. Again, I thought that looked like absolute trash when they showcased that, and I was like, "This is not going to work." And it was it was my second favourite game of the year last year.
Nice. Yeah.
It was outstanding. I think that's the thing. There's some games that I always give everything a fair shout, as I say, but I look at it and go, I don't think this is good. And out the blue, it'll just totally knock me off my feet and go, wow, okay, that proved me wrong. High on Life was great. That came out a couple of years ago. That was great fun. There's been some really good PlayStation games. Obviously, going back with, I went through the two Last of Us games. Obviously, even though they need to stop remastering them every
Yes.
2 months.
Yeah.
But those were great. The first God of War. I haven't played the second God of War, weirdly, but the first God of War was great. Days Gone. Oh yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of good stuff, and obviously stuff that came out on the Switch. You know, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I was quite late with the Switch, but Mario Brothers Wonder, obviously the Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were excellent.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good stuff, especially. I think that's the thing, more so the last couple of years. And again, when a game needs to be remade, I think it's pretty good. Like Resident Evil 4 remake did not get in my top 5 games, but it was in my top 10 games of the year that it came out.
Yeah.
And even the Silent Hill 2 remake, because I never played the original Silent Hill 2, so that warranted me playing that. Didn't make my top 5, but was in my top 10.
Sure.
So things like that where I might not have got to play it, because ironically, I played The Last of Us 2 remaster, but I hadn't got a PlayStation when Last of Us 2 came out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it warranted me getting it, but I was a bit like, yeah, this only came out in 2020. Why are you remastering this?
Yeah.
So there is things, but yeah, there's been some great games, and there's a lot of indie games over the years. Cocoon, which came out a couple of years, was that like 2 years ago now? Which then won a load of awards last year. Planet of Lana, Angerfoot was great fun. Gory Cuddly Carnage, which came out last year. There's been so many really good indie games that I've played. So yeah, there's been. I would probably fill a mausoleum of games.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Really.
So, but Mount Rushmore. Have you given me Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore.
I probably fill Mount Rushmore 5 times. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, but it's so eclectic though. Your taste in games as well. Like you play so many different games, and the love, the spread of that across all the genres is incredible to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing. Let's go. So again, over your years, and again, you mentioned like the NES having some hard games. What are some of the hardest games you've played over the years? And do you think games are harder yesteryear than they are today?
I think that's true. I think there's certain games that fit categories. A lot of your Souls-like games are obviously quite difficult, and they're geared to that. I'm not a big fan of Souls-like games, but I did enjoy like Lies of P, which I thought was great. But obviously that was quite difficult. But I do find there was like, so that the Turtles game that came with the NES, there was one bit that no one could get past. Like there was this little jump, and like you jump, but you hit your head on the ceiling and fall into the sewer, so your character would die, which is ironic because they're a turtle. So why would they die in the sewer?
Yeah, that's like
gaming mechanics. And there was swimming levels in that, so it made no sense. Like you got told, like, so you're like, how does this work? But it turned out you had to literally. It took me months to find out, but you had to literally just tap the button, not press the button. And if you did, nobody knew because it wasn't in instruction manual. If you tap, you just hopped over the jump. And I finally did get to finish that game. Ikari Warriors, I don't think ever ended. That was a game on the NES that just never stopped. It was just endless. I don't know if there was ever an end to it. And me and my mate spent a whole day trying to get through it. We even used one of those game genies to get like infinite lives.
Yeah.
And we were playing it for 8 hours, and in the end we gave up because we were like, we don't think this game ends. There was another one that was similar to Ikari Warriors called Gunsmoke on the NES, which was a Western. But that did have an ending, but that was tough. Because when you kill the final boss, surprise, surprise, he comes back alive. You're like, oh my God, this is so difficult. And Jetman, if you remember those games.
Yes.
So Solar Jetman was a proper sequel. And that had tons of levels. And they had this really good gravity mechanic. So some of the levels, your little spaceship, the gravity's fine, so you can navigate. But some it constantly pull your ship down. But then if you crash your ship, you still were like Jetman, but you'd be more vulnerable because you didn't have shields. But you could fly around a bit easier. But with the harder levels, even your little guy would get pulled down into like the crates or the spikes and stuff, which would damage you. So there were some really tough games. And I do agree. And there's games on the spectrum that I never finished. And it's funny, I brought this up on another podcast that I only found out a couple of months ago about the Short Circuit game, because I had that. It was one of the games that came with my Spectrum. And there was two different games in Short Circuit. There was an adventure game and an action game. But
Okay.
and you like the idea was if you finished, you could either start either one at any time. But the idea was if you wanted to play the adventure game, when you finished the adventure game, you would then get to the action game. And the adventure game was like you have a room, you have items, you can only carry 3 items, and you go through different doors and different things, and you use these items and use the computers to read the text to find codes to unlock doors, and basically try and escape the building. So it's a typical sort of adventure thing. Never completed that. Couldn't figure it out. But then there was the action game. The action game was a scroll thing where you have to shoot the bad guys, jump over like dogs and rabbits so they don't get home, jump over potholes, and if you hit more than 3 potholes, your head pop like Johnny Number 5's head popped off and you have to start again. Well, it turned out you could never finish the action game. And I only found out a couple of months ago that stupidly they did a program where you get to a certain point where there's nothing but a line of potholes. So you can't jump over it. You just crash and die. And it was a bug in the game.
Right.
So you could never finish the game.
Oh my God.
Even though they properly coded an ending and stuff. So I will never, to this day, even if I booted up a Spectrum, I'll never be able to finish that game.
Yeah.
So that's the whole rock hard. So, but I do think there's too much hand holding these days with some games. And there are some games that I do like where you're not told what you need to do.
Yeah.
And you have to figure it out for yourself. And I do like that. And we've had a couple of modern games this year that have done that. And I've kind of sat there and gone, there's bits where, don't get me wrong, I've got totally stuck on, I ain't got a clue, so I've got to go on YouTube and look it up.
Yeah, of course.
And there's parts that I'm like, at least it doesn't feel like it's stopping me from cracking on with the game. There's so many games today where you get the obligatory, this is a tutorial level,
yes,
which is fine. But I think some of them go on for so long, you're like, I just want to get on with the game.
100%.
And it's kind of stopping you. And I do. And then when you get through all that, you do tend to find the game is a lot easier. Which from a streamer's perspective is great because it means you can show more to the people on a stream. And also from a writing, talk show perspective, I can hammer through a game a lot easier. But yeah, I do want something that is going to be a bit of a challenge. I don't want everything to be. But I think back in the 80s and 90s, some games were ridiculously rock hard, especially like arcades, because the whole point of arcade games is they wanted you to put the 20 pence, 50 pence in and again. So they're deliberately difficult because they want you to keep spending the money.
100%.
So,
yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned that about streaming. Like, I think I had a conversation with someone else on this season's podcast, actually, one of the latest episodes I've done, and it's so true. Like, we had a conversation about when you're streaming a game, you have that kind of like pressure of being like the entertainer almost, of like, well, if you're getting stuck, they like, do I just try to figure it out, or do I try to continue and stuff like that? Whereas if you're playing it offline, you'd be like, right, I'm just going to try to figure it out myself.
Yeah,
time's not on your side.
I think that's the thing, and if I have had games that have got really frustrating, or maybe we have hit a bug that stopped the game, and it's kind of like I'm one of those people that frustrates me, and unfortunately that does show. And sometimes the community are great, and they're going, we figured it out, like we sorted it. Sometimes people are like, I ain't got a clue, and like we've researched this and we can't find out anything, and you just kind of feel like you're letting your audience down because you can't solve this thing. It can be annoying in that respect, unfortunately. So I do that, but generally, 9 times out of 10, it's pretty. You haven't got that, so it is a blessing in disguise in some ways. But I could never do. Like, I never streamed Elden Ring because I just know I'd end up screaming.
Yeah.
So I know people are very excited for this new Elden Ring Night Rain that's out at the end of this month, but I couldn't bring myself to play it because I just know I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I know my limitations. There's certain games that I will never stream because I'd rather have a game that I really enjoy and everyone loves it. And most recent example is obviously the new Doom the Dark Ages. I've been looking forward to that for so long and streamed it, and it's probably my highest rated stream this month so far, and everyone was just like, that was really good. You could tell that you're really into that, and I just have so much fun because if I'm enjoying a game, even though I'm not really focusing on the game fully, it still comes across well, and when like
Yes.
speaking to chat and stuff. And I think that's the key to it, really. As long as you're enjoying it, I don't mind games like you sit there and you're scratching your head, going, oh, okay. Because then obviously, if you solve something, you're kind of like, yes, the
Yes.
community's with you, and they go, yeah. But I do like a game where I can just go at it. I don't have to really care about like if I'm good at it or not.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have fun with it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You mentioned Half-Life as one of your all-time favorite games as well. Like, did you do any like mods? You can mention your life playing PC games. How much has modding been in your history
Uh,
of playing games?
Sadly, not a lot.
No.
I'm more one of those people that sat back and watched people mod stuff
Okay. Yeah.
and then watch videos of it. Um, I did play a lot of the Doom games with mods. Like there
Okay.
was the Aliens mod, obviously based on the film Aliens. The Evil Dead mod. So you've got Bruce Campbell saying groovy every time you get a pickup, and obviously with the chainsaw on this. So a lot of the Doom stuff I did, but when it came to other games and stuff like games where you change the enemy into Thomas the Tank Engine or whatever,
Yeah.
didn't really do it. I see that as more of a form of entertainment now than stuff. So I'm not really one of those people that will do that. I haven't really got the time.
Yeah.
It's something that's really good and everyone's talking about it. I might delve in and have a bit of a play with it with a mod, but I just don't got the time now. But sadly, that was sort of a boat that sailed and I kind of missed really
Yeah.
because there's lots of stuff I missed on that.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned it earlier as well about like streaming and doing your show versus like downtime. Like what is downtime? That's a silly question, but you know what I
There
mean.
isn't
Like,
any.
what is downtime? Yeah, you should be asking me that question, not me asking you. But no, like what's the balance like then, if there is any? Like, what games do you play offline? Is it a lot? Is it a small amount? Is it maybe on your travels? You know, what is it?
I don't get to play a lot on my travels because especially when I'm traveling, I'm either driving or if I'm on a train or I'm on a plane. I don't tend to do that because I'm either checking emails on the train or I can't really play anything on a plane anyway. Because if you're on a plane, I tend to watch films,
Yeah,
so that's kind of thing with that. Um, it does vary from week to week because if I've got a manic week and I'm here, there, and everywhere, and I'm traveling around, um, I probably won't play as much. I'll probably only be the streams that I've played the game.
yeah,
Say like this bank holiday weekend, I've already been playing a load of the new Doom this week, and I also had last week. Well, I had Sunday off, so I was playing the Precinct, which came out 2 Tuesdays ago, which is like funny enough, like a GTA inspired. If the original GTA, the roles were reversed and you were the cop, it's a top down kind of thing from that. So I've been hammering through that. So when I've got days like this, I'll probably play a lot of stuff tonight. But then there will be games that I'll jump on with friends. So if someone wants a game of Fortnite, I'll jump on that. Or games that I played a couple of years ago, like say It Takes Two. I've had another friend that was like, "Do you fancy playing this again?" I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? I really enjoyed that, so we'll do that." So yeah, it does vary from week to week. I'll get a lot of games played today, tomorrow, Monday, and then I probably won't get anything played for then a week and a half
yeah,
because of the way I'm going to be. Because I'm literally shooting off to TwitchCon, so I leave next Thursday. I'll be back late the following Monday, and then I think I'm literally doing 2 streams, and then I'm back off traveling because I've got some other stuff, work stuff to do, and I'm literally, I think I'm somewhere, I'm local on the Thursday, but then I'm down south on the Friday. I think I've got the Saturday off, and then the Sunday I'm up north, so I've literally only got one day. So I don't know where I'll get any gaming done. So it does vary. It's mad. I do find August and Christmas my best times to get through games that I haven't completed. I like I finished Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2 2 Christmases ago, and then Christmas gone, hammered through Star Wars Outlaws because I wanted to finish that off. And there was something else I started, and I can't even remember what it was now, which is sad because I think it was a really good game, but completed it. So when that's like a lot of downtime,
Yeah.
even if I'm still streaming, I do get to play more games because I'm not having to organise anything or go to anything in
Sure.
that respect.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. But I've still got like a backlog like anyone else.
Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah. Never stops. That's for
No,
sure. Um.
it never
So
ends.
sounds like a silly question considering what's behind you, but do you have any video game collectibles, Max?
I do. Funny that.
What are some of
Not
your
all.
favorite collectibles, my friend?
Uh, not all of them are here. Ironically, some of them are still packed in boxes because obviously I've moved and not got them out. But um, obviously I've got the Doom guy. In fact, bring him out because he's one of the ones that you got from Doom Eternal. So
Oh,
he's still got
nice.
a. Oh, the batteries are finally gone. Last time I did that, it worked, but it does the original
Oh, heck
music.
yeah.
But yeah, little Doom guy. There's a Princess Peach. I've got Hitman. I've got a Division guy over there. Obviously, I've got a lot of other stuff. Cult of the Lamb. Obviously, Mario, Pac-Man. Obviously, because love the arcades. Even though I wasn't a fan of Cyberpunk, I'm going to say that Cyberpunk's a better game now than it was when it came out. But I
Yeah, of
wasn't a fan.
course.
I've got Cyberpunk figures. I've got Crash Bandicoot. I loved Cuphead, so I've got Cuphead. I've got PUBG because I played a lot of PUBG, but I haven't played that in years. But used to love that. And We Happy Few, which I quite liked.
Yeah.
I've got that. And then Borderlands. I am a big Borderlands fan. Assassin's Creed. I've got there. And then ironically, there's a lot of Sea of Thieves stuff.
Nice.
There's a lot of Sea of Thieves books. I've got the tabletop board game there, the role playing game. There's the art books and numerous other stuff. Because I basically from day of release, I played Sea of Thieves for probably about 5 years non-stop.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
ironically, it's only in the last 2 years I've kind of stopped playing it. I'm still following what goes on it. I've done one stream of it this year. I tend to do one stream a year of it. But I literally would play it daily. I swear there was a point where from when it came out in 2018, I would play it religiously for 2.5 years and did
Yeah.
not stop.
God. Yeah.
Um, so I'm still a fan of Sea Thieves, but I don't get the time to play it anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's there. There's even some great stuff because I'm a big Rebellion fan. You're gonna love these. So I do get sent some really cool stuff. I've been sent like controllers and other things, but believe it or not, these are
Nice.
dog bowls
Um,
for my dogs. And
that's so
Rebellion
awesome.
very kindly sent me Sniper Elite and Zombie Army trilogy
Oh, wow.
dog
Yeah.
bowls, and they're brilliant.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, they're
so,
awesome. Let's
yeah.
go.
I'm very fortunate. There's some great stuff that I bought at shows. I've even got some little Among Us characters as well up there.
No, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So there's a ton of stuff, but there's a lot more stuff in the boxes that I've not got room for,
No.
unfortunately. So
That's an amazing
yeah,
collection from what I can see, obviously.
thank you. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. That's so good. So tell us about then your first stream. So 5 years, pretty much then of
Oh my
streaming
life.
now.
Yeah.
What was the first stream like? Like, what was the process of like, okay, I'm gonna hit the go live button. Like, did you have a webcam? Did you like, what was the game you played? What was the selection process for you? Was it a new game that you'd never played before? Was it you wanted to be in familiar territories? Like, what was that process like for you? What happened?
Uh, Horrendous. Um, so I I didn't have a setup. I had my little MacBook, which had a camera on it, which I used. I had my Xbox One.
Yeah.
Um, actually, no, I would have had the Series X by then. Would I have the Series X?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh no, maybe yeah. Oh no, I would have had the Xbox One. Series X would have come out the month after I was streaming. Yeah. Okay, yeah, because they came out in November. So I had the Xbox One. So I was using the living room.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, I had big TV on the wall, which was fine. To turn the sound down, I had the MacBook, and there was a piece of software because I didn't have a capture card or anything. I had a piece of software which I can't even remember the name of. I don't think it exists, but it was like a cloud thing where you could stream either a PS4 and Xbox One onto your computer.
Sure. Yeah.
So I then use another piece of software called StreamYard, which I still use to this day for the talk shows, to pump that through StreamYard, because then it had the ability to move the camera around. I could have different scenes, so that would work. So I didn't use OBS or anything because none of that would work on my old MacBook.
Okay.
And then I got my I bought a Blue Snowball mic, which I'm using right now, still to this day. And it was literally laptop in front of me with a mic on like a tea tray with my game controller and TV and my headphones. And then cables running from the Xbox One through the living room and then through the kitchen into the internet to hardwire. And that was my setup. There was cables everywhere.
Yeah.
I had to pack it down every night because it would drive my wife at the time absolutely insane. And bless her, she had the patience of a saint for doing it. And my first stream, there was no element that the whole doing new games kind of came about pretty much 2 years ago. That's when I kind of changed my tact on what I did.
Yeah.
So it very much started as, let's just play some games I like and whatever lands on Game Pass. And because Doom Eternal had already been out and I completed it, I didn't really want to play it again, but the DLC started to come out.
Nice. Yeah.
So I played that. But there's actually footage of my first stream. And I think with the first stream, I accidentally left the mic on the laptop and I caused a feedback loop. It was like,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay, sorry about that. I probably had about 3 people watching me. And it was a really laggy stream because sometimes that cloud software didn't work. So the sound from the game was almost being reheard through a thing. So it was like a condensed down version. So it sounded really tinny.
Yeah.
My voice on my camera was all right, but sometimes the game was a bit laggy, and watched back the streams like, wow, the quality of this is shocking.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much how I got by for the first month or so. And then I invested in a capture card.
Yeah.
And started doing stuff a little bit more properly. But the problem I had was I couldn't really run Streamlabs and stuff on the... I think what changed my mind was when I got the Xbox Series X, I couldn't run that through that software.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And when I wrote to them and said, emailed them and say, are you doing a thing for PS5, Xbox Series X? They're like, no, we can't be bothered. So I was like, so I can't stream new console stuff through your software. So I had to find a way. So capture card was the next route. But then trying to run OBS and stuff off a 2012 MacBook, which is still running to this day, but it's had its days, to be honest. It really lagged out. And I think within 6 months, I was like, I need to get a set up. So by June or July, so I started streaming October 2020. So by June, maybe even May, I had a proper PC set up.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved from the living room to a space. I had a proper studio, which was really cool because we had a sofa so we could interview guests.
Nice. Yeah.
And had posters all over the walls and had a lot more of the gaming stuff. So I even used to do tours of the thing. Had a proper camera, blah, blah, blah. I pretty much got the setup I've still got now. Got a Stream Deck and just went from there. And that was kind of when the PC games started to come into play.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff. But we're still really just doing whatever I could get my hands on, really.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until 2023 when my producer at the time, because I did have a show producer who's still a good friend to this day, she was like, I think we need to change the tact because the talk show is what's pulling people in. So why don't you start playing games that you've talked about on the talk show or about to talk about on the talk show? Yeah. And that was it. So literally from the start of 2023, that's been my thing now. So I don't play any, apart from community nights, I don't really play any old games at all. Yeah. Unless there's been a remaster or something of it. But of course. That's kind of my thing. But yeah, looking back from what I started with, I do count myself very, very lucky because I kind of look at that and go, God, that was awful now. But everyone had to start somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I don't regret the way I did it. And the fact that I actually got like a handful of viewers from it. And then it kind of built, I think February was kind of like, so 5-6 months on was kind of where it started to pick up. And it got to that point where, you know, I'm not having 2 people watching me. I'm having 7 or 8. Yeah. And then that grew and that grew. So yeah, it's. I mean, still to this day, I count myself as a very small streamer. I am a small streamer. I know that. But that's been built. I'd say the community's been built up over a slow period of time, and the people that are in it. But they are people who will religiously watch me every single day of the week that I'm on.
Yeah.
Which is a nice thing to have.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, it's nice. I don't regret any of the way that I did that, and I think it was a natural progression how it's kind of gone.
Amazing. So I've got a question for you that was asked by a previous streamer. So they didn't know who they were going to ask this question to, but it's landed on you. So the question is, if you had to describe yourself as a creator to someone who doesn't know Twitch, what would you say?
Okay, I would say I'm a talk show host that talks about all new gaming news and reviews.
Yes.
On a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock.
That's a plug.
There you go. That's it, done. It's a plug, but now I can say, and Twitch is a platform like to YouTube, because when you do get people who don't say,
exactly.
oh, I don't know what Twitch is, but if you go, it's like YouTube, but you can watch my show live on that, they'll go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that would be my way of explaining it.
Definitely. I often.
It was a shameless plug, but
perfect. Oh, that's your episode. No, I often compare it to Gogglebox.
Yes,
that's how I go about it. I go, if you watch Gogglebox, people on Gogglebox watch TV, and you're watching them watch TV. Well, people watch me play video games, and they go,
yeah, yeah. Or you get, but I think this is the thing, because when I describe Twitch, because I say it is predominantly a gaming platform, but then it's like, don't forget, there are people that will do comedy streams,
yes,
talk shows. There's people that will do like in real life thing where they go to a theme park or watch someone going to a theme park. But then there's chat shows. There's people that do art streams. There's people that do sport. There's people that do like sports shows.
Yes,
and stuff like that. So there is a lot more to it. I think even I was surprised, like seeing like certain shows and go, oh God, I think even like, doesn't Dom Jolly have a Twitch channel, or he did have?
Oh, goodness me,
the comedian.
I didn't know that. But
I'm sure he was. But then like people like Ian Lee, who was a comedian, but obviously a big in the video game stuff. He's had a talk show on Twitch for donkey's years. Him and Catherine. That's really good. That's good to watch. So there's lots of good stuff, and there's some guys that do movie reviews who used to have they do still have the YouTube channel, but then they got like offered a Twitch thing. So they literally went on Twitch, and I watch them live every Sunday night. And it is movie reviews. It's a whole movie show, which you wouldn't necessarily associate with Twitch and the gaming side. But I love that. I'll tune that into that. So yeah, 100%. It's lots of great stuff out there.
So, let's talk about then like event management, because where the time we've already smashed an hour. But let's talk about event management. So again, you had a 20-year experience of that, and then you've created Timeless. You're now involved in Manchester Twitch meetups, which is absolutely amazing. And then representing literally Twitch next week. So talk about like how that feels initially to be able to say that you've done all that stuff, and like what is it that that drives you to be able to maintain all that, because it's a massive like weight, I'd imagine, in terms of expectation and stuff.
I firstly think I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I'm doing, and I especially when I've been invited to go and do stuff for people and do stuff. It's like I say, like last year, got to present a load of stuff for like the Debug Awards, and that was an absolute honour. I'm literally, but there was an aspect of running the event along with the team for technical things. They were like, well, if we do this, what's the best way of doing it? So it was funny that I was on stage for the daytime stuff presenting, but what a lot of people don't know is when the awards were taking place, and there was like a really good presenter on who's a far bigger name than me, I was backstage making sure the things were running so that it was a smooth process for last year's event. So it is funny. Obviously that 20 years has helped massively. I always feel very honoured to be asked to do stuff, but I think the fact that when the idea of Timeless came around, it was a bit of a crazy thing, and it wasn't even my. I can't even take the credit. It wasn't my idea. It was the fact that someone we knew when EGX got cancelled in Birmingham, and they said, "Oh, it'll be back next year." And we haven't seen it since. So that was like 5 years ago or whatever. And then E3 got cancelled that same year. Someone literally said, you could do a better job organising it, and you should get such and such to help you. Who used to be a gaming, a guy, I'm going to say his name, a guy called Brad, who was a gaming journalist back in the days, but he's a motivational speaker these days. But he was like, "Oh, I'd love to put on an event," and he said, "I know a venue." He knew Arcade Club, I didn't, and he said, "Between us, we can put on an event." And that's kind of I'm not going to lie, I know I wouldn't say we winged it because we did prepare it quite properly, but we were like, right, we've got a venue, going to sell tickets. We had about 150 people turn up at the first one.
Yeah.
But we did like an Ocean reunion panel. We did gaming challenges, which is a big thing of Timeless now. We've kept that in. We had interviewed Kim Justice, the YouTuber. We had a gaming journalist, and we were talking about how gaming journalism's changed over the last 30 years. From it's a magazine, and now it's on a website, and this is a guy that's done all of it. And we did competitions, and it was a great event, but it was hard work, and we only put the first one together in the space of 4 months.
Wow.
Because it was like the start of March that it was suggested, and we ran it in August.
Wow.
So that was insane. And then Brad was like, "I can't keep doing this. It's too much pressure, but you've got my blessing to go ahead and do it." So then I got my friends involved. Obviously, Amy got involved. It was my ex-show producer. And then obviously Jesse. So we kind of ran with it for the next year and kind of shaped it into what it was. But it is hard work. And I don't think everyone really appreciates how much hard work it is, because even though we're not a big event, we are fortunate to where we've got off, because our second event, we had 250 people, so 100 people more. Last year was 650, so obviously it's shot up. This year we're trying to get, I'll be happy with 8. If we can get 800 in, I'll be happy, but we are trying to pitch for 1,000. Okay. And if we get 650 again, I'm not going to lie, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it does consume your life, because you need to start planning almost a year in advance.
Sure. Yeah.
To get stuff doing, because there's the to and froing with booking people with panels and trying to get them confirmed and not confirmed. And sometimes you'll get an immediate yes, and sometimes it'll drag out for months because you've got to wait how their calendar's going to land because of other commitments. So there's that. So the amount of times that we've wanted to book stuff, and I'm not going to say who we've tried to book, and we've never been able to get them. And then some we've managed to get for a following year, which is great. And then some we've just never been able to get it.
Yeah.
I think there's about 4 or 5 things that have fallen through for this year's event alone.
Yeah.
But there's that. There's the logistics of it. There's how are we going to sell the tickets, promoting it, actually advertising it, the whole process of getting partners in, sponsors it, funding it. I think the biggest thing is, especially with Timeless, it's a self-funded thing, right? Yeah. We have not got big names backing us, and the money is practically coming out of my back pocket, which I'm not a rich guy. But I'm literally paying out everything, and it's like we pay for the hotels for the guests and travel expenses for certain people that are attending the event and things, and some people we have to pay fees, which we agree on. I've been quite fortunate at the fees we get, because they understand we're a small event. They don't charge us ridiculous amounts, so we're very fortunate with that. But it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of time. And people do say to me, "Do you get to enjoy the event on the day?" And the answer is no. Okay, because it goes so quick. Like, there's moments that I'll remember, but there's stuff that people will say to me and I'll go, "I don't remember that because I was so full on."
Yeah.
But I do get a kick out of doing it. And I do get a kick out of being on stage a lot. And going back to 2023 was like the first time I was asked to be a guest at a big gaming show in Norfolk. And I still feel to this day, because this is the weird thing about me, I am a small streamer, yet I get asked to present or be on stage at some big events.
Yeah.
And I share that stage with some big names. So 2023, I had Ashen. I was on stage with Ashens, Quang, Slopes, Kim Justice, and a ton of other big YouTubers, and other people that are far, 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 like, superior to me in terms of numbers and their audience and everything. I feel like I'm a bit of a fraud sometimes. But weirdly, people like me and people want me to be at their events. So go for it. It's the fact. And then I think that's introduced me to more people who've then said, "Oh, do you want to come and do this?"
Yeah.
I've just been very, very fortunate. I wouldn't say I'm lucky, because I've worked for it.
100%,
There have been
yeah.
a lot of opportunities that do land in my lap, and I feel quite grateful for. But a lot of it I work for. But I think it's that thing that constantly working at that and working on. My current manager even said when he first met me, he went, "I don't get how you're such a small streamer who has got a profile of people that like you and around you that support you
Yeah, yeah.
that are very high up
Uh-huh.
when you're just kind of," he said, "No offense, you're down there." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't get it either." And it's that bizarre thing. But yeah, I do get a kick out of it. And I think the biggest thing for me, and this is always the thing about Timeless, we never set it up to be something we're going to make money at, because I'm not going to lie, putting on event, any form of event, is a massive risk. Full stop. Doesn't matter whether it's a sporting event, music event, anything, even a conference. It takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and it will drive you around the bend. There have been multiple times that I have not this year for this one. I think I've got to the point where it seems easier now for Timeless. I'm not going to lie. But there have been multiple times, like for the last year and year before, I've gone, I seriously consider jacking this in because it's doing my head in. But we got through it. And the team have got through it. And especially the team have got the patience for saying, because they have to put it with me. But it's that thing of, we're not doing it for the money.
No.
We're doing it because there's not enough great gaming events out there, because we've lost, as I said earlier, we've lost a lot of good ones. There are lots of other ones out there that are great, by the way. I'm not just saying ours is the best.
No.
I'm not saying that. But it's the fact that we're bringing people together. We're bringing communities. We're bringing creators. We're bringing just gaming fans and families.
Yes.
And it just makes me smile. Like there was a an esports team turned up last year. Well, we don't do anything to do with esports, but they were like, yeah, but we want somewhere we can meet.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I had a family who turned up, and a guy says, we came from he came from Iran, right?
Okay.
And he was like, we came over to visit some relatives, and we had a couple of days off. And he was like, we had no idea what to do in Manchester. And he said, we saw your event advertised in Manchester. He says, oh, I've kept it secret. He said, this is a present for my kids.
Amazing.
And they turned up like a family of 5, and they had a whale of time. I think they were some of the first ones through the door, and they left when we closed at the end of the night. He was like, thank you so much. I've genuinely had people coming up to me and saying, thank you for continuing to run this, and thank you for giving us a place where we can meet.
Yeah.
And there's been some extraordinary stories. People have met their future partners at that event, right? There's people that Johnny that we know that they've now got a relationship.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's people who I don't know what I should say. They were already in a relationship before the event, but then possibly conceived a child after, because they had such a good time. That's all I'm going to say. So that so there's been now, and some of those kids are now at that event. I know that sounds bizarre, but they're enjoying the event. But there are friendships that have been made. There's partnerships that have been made. There's actually business deals been done. So there's been some of the people have come along to our event. They've met someone else who runs another event, and they're now helping with that event. So we're big fans of Knots VGE. They've got their next event in July. Plug for them there. Obviously, Format got their event at the end of October. Big plug for Simran and the team there. And there's been times where they've given us contacts and people that we've used. But then, especially this year, there's people that we've said, here's contact details for these guys, because they'll be perfect for your event, and vice versa. So that alone, it's just helping each other out. And that's worth it. And as long as I don't end up massively out of pocket, I'm all right with that. And just that, to have a load of people having a great time. I'm probably the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Imbecilic, if that's a word, event organizer. Because I ain't making a bloody penny yet out of this, but I just want to continue to do. And even the Twitch meets, it's a non-funded, not-for-profit event. We myself and the great team of volunteers that I've got with me that help out, we don't make a penny out of that. We do it to get 100, 150 people in a room and get networking and enjoy themselves. And that's it. And I think any other event organizer look at me and just go, and apart, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but they will
Yeah,
probably
sure.
say,
Yeah.
"You fucking idiot! What are you doing?" But it's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for the love of it, isn't it? It's for the love of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you are such a likable guy. You are again. When I did meet you last year, like I said, no, this guy's really sound. And that's what's drawn me to you as well in terms of asking you to
Thank
come on the
you.
podcast. And again, you made an incredible event with Timeless, and you're such a down to earth, really approachable guy. And you should be very proud of what you have achieved, man. Especially with some of the setbacks you've talked about. Again, when you were made redundant. And stuff like that. Like, absolutely incredible story. So thanks for sharing it.
No, thank
I
you.
love that. So one more time, can you just plug yourself? Tell us where we can find you on the socials and all that stuff, and plug Timeless as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I am Middle Aged Gamer Guy, but you can also call me Mag. You'll find me on Twitch TV /MiddleAgedGamerGuyUK on Twitch, and you'll pretty much find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under the same guys. So that's that. Little plug: Manchester meetups we do every couple of months. Next one is in July, start of July. Go to Twitch/meetups or whatever, twitch.tv meetups. You'll see our Manchester page. You can like that, and then you'll get notified when they're going. I think next one's 4th of July in Manchester. And obviously the big one, Timeless, 4th year. This time for the first ever year, going to be held in Liverpool. We've moved to a bigger venue. And it is on the 13th of August. We have got the likes of the wonderful Ash Millman, who I know has been on this show. We have got What Culture there, which is a big thing for us. I'm really, really happy about that. Ashens is back. We've got Slopes doing his gaming quiz. We've got the lads from Did You Know Gaming for the first time, the wonderful YouTube channel. We've got a Tomb Raider panel. And we've got a load more stuff to announce, and you can get tickets now at www.timelessgaming.co.uk. That's www.timelessgaming.co.uk.
Incredible. Oh, go. I'll be there as well. So
Sweet.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much, mate. I can't wait.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so
Can't
much.
wait to see you in person again and shake your hand and thank you again, mate, because it's been a pleasure, obviously, to talk to you today. But again, seeing you around doing your thing, it's just amazing. So it's an honor. So thank you.
So I know. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching / listening. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.
Cheers.